Welcome back to learning, growing, and coming even further into our authentic self, that core self where the power lies, where that energy and creativity and that clarity and that happiness and that peace comes from. That is what we are doing today and in each video. And you're not alone. I am here doing the work as well. And there are so many other people, the ones watching these videos, who are also on this journey. You're not alone. Today, I want to have a conversation around the fact that a lot of the things that we view as normal or are labeled as normal in our society, at least I'm here in the United States, so I can only speak for the United States. A lot of things that we view as normal are actually quite dysfunctional. What I mean by that is a lot of the things that we view as normal are actually not set up for our greatest well-being, our highest well-being, whether it be mental or physical. And what I mean by this is that a lot of what's in our society can actually be fueling in our anxiety, making our anxiety even more intense and stronger and worse, right? Especially in the stressful climate that we are currently finding ourselves in, where cortisol is constantly pumping through us. But on our channel here, we're taking in tools that can help us navigate through these challenging environments, these challenging things, right? But the main thing here really is that I want you guys to leave, or my intention with this video is for you guys to leave with a little bit more self-acceptance and a lot less criticism of your own anxiety, a lot less judgment over your current experience with anxiety, right? Because a lot of the things that we are experiencing on a day-to-day basis are actually not set up for us to blossom into a healthier mental health, right? We are working and doing this work to heal ourselves even when the environment is not really set up for us to succeed. I want to congratulate you for even being able to do that. That's a huge step, and we're coming back to our power so that these things don't affect us as much as they once did. We're changing our relationship to them. And once we could see these things, some of these dysfunctions that I'm about to explain, we could see them and become less reactive to them so that they don't have as much of an impact on our mental health, and we can make better decisions when they actually do come up, right? So there's just a few of them. I'm going to explain them, and then I'm going to explain their counterpart, like the positive and the negative aspects of them. The first thing being that constantly in mainstream media, movies, podcasts, television, when we're watching the news, when we are driving, right, we're constantly being surrounded by marketing and commercials, right, and advertisements. And what these advertisements and these commercials are doing is they are exploiting our insecurities and our pain points and capitalizing on them so that they can sell us a product, because they know when we are insecure, we are lacking that power and we are more susceptible to their influence and therefore more susceptible to actually buying their products. And what that does is it reaffirms our own insecurities, our own negative inner beliefs, and it keeps us down if we are reactive to them. However, if we can become aware of what they're doing and what their intention is, we can actually become responsive to them instead of reactive to them. So that when we're listening or watching or coming across these advertisements, we could see what kind of strings it's pulling on within us, becoming aware of ourselves, and be responsive and saying, I see where that almost got me, but it's not going to get me. And that is making a powerful decision from within, right? The second thing, which is kind of related to the first thing a little bit, is in our society, again, at least here in the United States, is that we are constantly being influenced that we need to be bigger. We need to be better. We always need to have the next best thing or be the absolute best version of ourselves at all times, right? That is toxic because we can't constantly be progressing. Sometimes we actually need to just rest and rejuvenate and allow ourselves to listen to our bodies and what our bodies need instead of constantly being caught up in needing to be a bigger, better version of ourselves, right? Coming again back to that power of listening to ourselves, our needs, and actually taking action on what our bodies and what our minds feel we need at that moment. Instead of getting caught up in comparing ourselves on Instagram to this person that has a nicer car, and then we feel like we need to have a nicer car. This person travels, we always feel like we need to travel more. Constantly getting these messages that we're not enough because we don't have this, or we're not this. And that is, again, reaffirming our own insecurities. However, if we can, again, become aware of those feelings of insecurities and those beliefs that are coming up that we are reacting upon when we get those messages of feeling like we need to be bigger and better, then we could become responsive. Remembering, actually, I'm on my path. I'm feeling quite aligned right now with my values and with my needs. I'm walking at my own pace. I don't need to be on somebody else's pace or what society thinks pace should be. We're all operating with different resources from a different starting point, and that's really important to remember so that we don't get caught up in constantly feeling like we need to be here when we're actually here. Be here and go the way that you want to go in the direction that you want to go, right? It's really important to come back to that because that's coming back to our power. Now, the third thing here is the belief that we constantly need to be there or do things for other people, even when it's at the detriment of ourselves. And this is something that comes up a lot in my personal life as I grew up. And so this shoe may fit for you, it might not, right? Throw it back at me if it doesn't fit for you. But what I grew up on was that I had to be there for other people, even if I was saying no to myself or doing something that didn't feel good in my own body, right? Something that just was a detriment to me also, right? And when I engaged in that and forgot my own boundaries, it becomes toxic, especially if we're doing something that feels toxic to us, or we're doing something for somebody that really takes our energy and our resources away from us. Instead of doing that and getting caught up in that, we could set boundaries around our own energy, our space, and our time, so that instead of getting lost in somebody else's life and what they need, we can come back to what we need in our lives, fill our cup up, and then when we're operating from our center instead of somebody else's, when we're operating from our center, then we can go about the relationships that we want to bring our resources, our energy, and our time to, right? And another thing with this is that back in the day, I would get caught up in being there for other people because I felt like that's where my value was determined. I was getting value only by helping other people rather than recognizing the value that is within trusting myself and making decisions that felt aligned with me. And when we operate again from this place, then we could bring even better resources, right? Even higher quality time and space and energy to the relationships and the work, the jobs that we want to work in, right? The relationships that we want to be a part of, those healthy relationships, or the relationships that we want to make healthier, right? Recognizing that start from here and then go there. Saying yes to ourselves and yes to the person that we want to be in relationship with, right? Instead of no to self, yes to the other person, because that's where we are draining our own energy, our own life force energy. Now, again, I just named a few things here that could potentially bring you the ability to be more self-accepting, to recognize that our environment, our society is not quite set up in a way that it is helping us to have a higher quality mental health and optimal well-being. Again, physically and mentally. Okay? So I hope that this sits with you well. If you have any questions or comments, or you want to start a conversation, drop those in the comments below. Or if you'd like it to be private, I am on Instagram the most. You could see my link down below. It's just my name, Marcello LaGreca, and we can have a conversation there as well. If and only if you found this valuable, a like or a subscription goes a really long way. Let us continue to create the future in our society as we heal, because we're making healing and we're making living in our power normal instead of these things that are dysfunctional normal. You have so much power in you, and we are collectively changing the status quo of how society is. And for that, I congratulate myself and I congratulate you. Together, we are making a really big difference and impact, because this is contagious. As we are happier and more peaceful and clearer and more powerful, other people recognize that and they want the same thing. So they ask you, what are the tools that you're using? What habits are you following? And that slowly but surely domino effects into a much larger population. So one person can make a difference. You can influence one person that influences 3 people, that influences 5 people, and you could really grow and involve an entire community of people that are growing, evolving, and coming into their power even more. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, or in the comments, or on my Instagram, so that we can have a conversation. Much love. I wish you the absolute best in the meantime.